Hey guys, I'm EJ and this is Kendall Stewart, and here we're going to be giving you guys our All-Star Game selections for the 2017 NBA All-Star Game. Now, Kendall, the All-Star Game is always a hot topic of discussion. Despite it being an exhibition game, everyone loves to argue about who got snubbed, who should have been in, who shouldn't be in the game. So we thought this was a good video for you guys, for us to do this year.
Yeah, what's interesting is that before the season, we made predictions for who we thought would be first-time All-Stars.
That was on our podcast.
That was on our podcast, yeah. And you had four guys that have a chance to make it. We'll see if they do.
Yeah,
I had four
I'll
guys.
tell you guys, I'm not going to spoil it yet.
I had four guys that had a chance to make it. It's not looking so good. My predictions were pretty off, but we'll see.
All right, so let's get right to it. So I'm going to go with the Eastern Conference. We're going to do Eastern Conference, then Western Conference. And how this works is you normally pick two starters, two guards, three front court players. The reserves are two guards, three forwards, and two wild card players that can either be a guard or a forward. So I'm going to start with the Eastern Conference. In my guards, I went with Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas. My front court players, I went with LeBron, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Kevin Love. I felt good about those starting lineup. I know you have three Cavs there, but I thought the Cavs have had a great season. So putting three starters for the Cavs wasn't a difficult decision. Giannis has had an incredible season for the Bucks. He could be the most improved player this year. And then Isaiah Thomas has been just unbelievable. So he's in my list. For my reserves, I went with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. So both Toronto guards are my backcourt for the reserves. For the forwards, I went with Jimmy Butler, Paul George, and Jabari Parker, who will be a first-time All-Star if this does happen for the Milwaukee Bucks.
I had him on my list.
Two guys. Jabari was on
Maybe my list isn't looking so bad.
He was on his early four list, so let's see if he's on his list as well. And in my wild cards, I went with John Wall. The guy's having, I think, probably the best year of his career so far. And I went with the big fella, Kendall. I went with Joel Embiid.
The process.
I went with the process, and I know, you look at it. It's just a process. You got to play the game, as Triple H told him. But no, I mean, I know his team is bad. I know he's a rookie, but I need big front court players. It's kind of why I put Kevin Love in the starting lineup. It's why I have Joel Embiid in my backcourt. I don't like that the NBA's gotten rid of the center position as a firm position as an all-star. You need to have big players, so
no Knicks.
Joel Embiid, no Knicks. And their season's falling apart. Had that not been the case, Porzingis, who was one of my early four guys who I hoped would make it and did not make it on my list, or Carmelo Anthony would have had a shot.
For me, we have the same exact starting lineup, PJ. I was shocked when I found that out, but we have Isaiah Thomas. We both have Isaiah Thomas, Kyrie, LeBron, Giannis, and Kevin Love. Obviously, I love the fact that Isaiah Thomas is, starting in his first All-Star game.
Celtic slander, even on the YouTube channel.
He's
Celtic, or not propaganda, not slander.
He's averaging 28 and 6, 10 points in the fourth quarter, which leads the NBA. The guy, he's missed the fourth quarter. I mean, he's been excellent this season, and I expect the Celtics to, push forward in the second half of the season. But the rest of the guys, I mean, Kyrie, Love, and LeBron, you have to have three Cavs. You don't have to. I think those two guys particularly have to be on there, but the Cavs have just been so good this season that having three Cavs I don't think is ridiculous. And then the last guy is Giannis, who, a guy you thought would be a first-time All-Star, and, he's been an MVP candidate this season. He's been excellent this season in Milwaukee. And then coming off the bench, my two guards are John Wall, who was Eastern Conference Player of the Month in the month of December, and DeMar DeRozan, who's averaging 28 points a game. He's the guy I almost put in my starting lineup.
Yeah.
I very well could have over Kyrie, but he's played excellent. And then my forwards coming off the bench, my front court players are Paul George, Jimmy Butler, and Joel the Process Embiid. Butler's a guy that I was close to putting in over Love. I mean, he's averaging 25. He's carried that Chicago Bulls team, but they've just kind of sputtered recently, so it was tough for me to put a team that's not in the playoffs over the best team in the Eastern Conference. Paul George has had a down year, but he's still an all-star. And then my two wild cards are Kyle Lowry and Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is a guy that he's been kind of overlooked because of his size, and he's not a flashy player. I mean, he kind of is a flashy player, but his team's not a flashy team to watch, so nobody watches him. And but Charlotte's been excellent this season. They're like fourth in the Eastern Conference, fifth in the Eastern Conference, and he's averaging like 22 points a game.
Yeah, it was tough for me. I'm a native New Yorker, Catholic, New York Catholic League alum myself.
You played against Kemba.
I played against Kemba Walker, and it did not go well for my team. So it was tough for me to leave Kemba off. But both conferences you're going to see, there are going to be guys that could very well make it in any other year that might be left off. Kemba's having a great year, but I couldn't put him over Lowry, and then I couldn't put him over Wall. So he kind of just became the odd man out for me. So the difference there was Kemba, I had Jabari Parker. So
I had Jabari on my list.
That was the guy you had in your early list, and he did not make your final
His
list.
numbers just aren't gaudy enough for me. I mean, he's averaging like 18 and 11.
He's averaging 20 now.
He's averaging 20
Yeah.
now. You sure?
Yeah.
I thought he was at 17. He's probably up to 20 now.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, his team is
in the playoffs.
They're in the same boat as Charlotte.
All these teams are kind of
in the same boat.
Same situation.
But Kemba is the Giannis to where for Charlotte. So.
Yeah, that's fair. He's there. Kemba is their alpha dog. So you put it over a second banana, so to speak, with Jabari. So let's head to the West now. I'm gonna give you my Western Conference starters. So let's first begin with the guards. I got Russell Westbrook and James Harden. I think that's really no argument there. These guys are two of the top MVP guys in the league. So those are my backcourt guys. And for the front court guys, I went with Kevin Durant from the Warriors, Anthony Davis from the Pelicans, and Kawhi Leonard from the Spurs. Those Durant and Leonard, possibly the best players on two of the best teams in the West, and Anthony Davis once again having a ridiculous season statistically. Then my reserves, I went with Steph Curry as my one guard. My second guard was Chris Paul. My front court guys, I went with DeMarcus Cousins, somewhat of a lightning rod, but he does make my All-Star team. Then I went with Gordon Hayward, first-time All-Star.
Guy you had as one of your first-time All-Stars.
Yes, he was on my first four lists that we did on our podcast earlier last year. And then I had Marc Gasol as my other front court player, a guy who's played really well coming back from injury last season and has really kind of carried that Memphis team along with Mike Conley. Then my wild card picks, this was very tough because now I had to leave guys off, but I went with Damian Lillard at one spot and Klay Thompson at the other spot. Lillard's having a big season despite Portland's struggles, and the Warriors have played good enough to where they at least deserve 3. I know I'm missing Draymond Green, but if it was between him and Klay, I took Klay.
For me in the Western Conference, I believe we have the same starting lineup again. I have Russ and Harden. You aforementioned the fact that those guys obviously have a ridiculous statistical season. I have KD, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis. And, I mean, KD and Leonard, like you said, are the best players on the best teams in the West. And Davis is a guy, I could have gone with somebody else as a starter, but Davis has put up stats in a way that he's better than most of the front court guys in the West. So, and in the backup coming off the bench, in the backcourt coming off the bench, I have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers. I think both those guys, Steph Curry's having a down season for him. But
25 points and 5 or 6 assists. That's a down season for Steph Curry.
But he's his team's the second. His team, he has the best team in the league, best team in the West, and Klay Thompson's obviously still producing also in that backcourt. And then in the front court, coming off the bench, you have Boogie Cousins, who is, like you said, putting up great numbers. He's a lightning rod, for lack of a better term. He could have started, but unlike Anthony Davis, his teammates hate him. So
and he had not just the teammates, and you had the media, half the fan base, the coaching staff.
The only thing that loves him is the only person that loves him is Vlade and Vivek.
Yeah, I know, right? Those are the guys that matter, though. Those guys cutting his check, and now it's a $200 million check. So
yeah, it will be.
Now it really matters that those are the only two guys.
And then I have Gordon Hayward, another first-time All-Star, having 22 points on a team that's solidly in the playoffs in Utah. And then I have Marc Gasol, who is another team solidly in the playoffs in Memphis. They've surprised a lot of people with the way they've played, and he's been healthy, which is the key for Marc Gasol because he's been hurt most of the last couple of seasons. And then my two wildcard guys are two Los Angeles Clippers, Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan.
So you went with DJ. I went with Lillard. Why did you not go with Dame this year?
I just think Lillard, his team is underachieved too much, and Lillard's a guy I thought before the season would be an MVP candidate, but.
Right.
He's put up numbers, but the way his team has struggled, taking a step back, I just think the West is too little spots. And DeAndre Jordan is, without Blake Griffin for half the season, he's stepped up and he's played his role, and he's been arguably the most important player for a team that's third in the Western Conference. So DeAndre Jordan, I thought was key.
Yeah. So for me, it was tough not putting DJ on, but the reason why I left DJ off was because Lillard's team has played good enough that they are they right now they are the 8th spot in the playoffs. So I felt like his numbers were too good. So I left him on. You could definitely make the case that 2 Clippers should be there, but I went with Lillard. But I guess that's it for us. So thank you guys so much for watching. And if you have any agreements or disagreements or guys you think should be put on, feel free to put some comments down there below. And that's it. So thanks for watching. For Kendall, I'm EJ. Peace.